Okay, as I am aware, some of you will be gone tomorrow for the track meet in Esteline. I believe that's where you're headed. So for our exam on Friday, there's a couple bonus questions for you. And to make sense of those, we say we've got Captain Marvel, Captain America, Captain Caveman, but Kello TV had Captain Blank. And the other one reads, The Big Bang Theory, there's a character that does have a real philosophical doctorate or PhD, so that's why you refer to them as Dr. Kripke or Dr. Gabelhauser. There's Dr. Siebert, there's Dr. Hofstadter, Dr. Cooper, Dr. Fowler, and Dr. Kuthra-Polly, I believe. Those are some of the reoccurring characters on there. So one of them actually does have a philosophical doctorate. So those are your two bonus questions for Friday, and we will continue moving forward with what it is we would like you to know for your exam again on Friday. So you have two sets of vocab that was you were evaluated over, and you've taken, completed, and corrected, and recorded, and have been handed back. I believe I handed the second one back to you yesterday. So in class today, if I don't reach you, just please make sure you receive that and be ready to go again on Friday. Because again, a number of you will be gone on tomorrow for the track meet. Okay, so three main things we want you to know when it comes to plants would be the main structure. So something along the lines of, what are the three main structures in plants and their functions? Okay, so one way to look at this is we could start from the bottom and work our way up. So it is the roots, of course, that anchor the plant to the ground. That would be one function that roots do, and they also have a special type of cell in them called parenchyma cells. And from earlier on in the chapter, we gave you a clue on how to keep those different types of cells separate, so we know what function would go where. So again, we're talking about roots have the function anchoring the plant to the ground. Okay, so that would be one of the functions that would take place, but also we know for plants to survive and thrive, they need to make their own food for themselves, and that's a process of photosynthesis. So in order for that to occur, to make those sugars, they have to have a constant supply of carbon dioxide and water. So the water is not taken in through the leaves. It's actually absorbed through the roots. So not only do the roots anchor the plant to the ground, but they also will absorb water, okay? And absorbs water. And I should say, we can extend that out a little further and say, because of the function, of parenchyma cells. Okay, let's make sure I got that spelled somewhat correct. Let's see here. No, not even close. Okay. So let's try that again. That was a fail. Parenchyma. There we go. parenchyma cells. Okay, so function of roots: it anchors the plants to the ground, takes in water with the function of parenchyma cells. Okay. Also, nutrients are stored in the roots, but I'm not too concerned about that function. We want to be able to cap this off at some point. So, the vital function of the roots. Okay. So, after this water has been absorbed, needs to be transported through the stems and then up to the leaves. So, after we talk about the roots, we would move on to the stems. Okay. So stems of plants, we'll just say house. In other words, in the bundle, if you want to call it a circular bundle of that stem, contains two different types of tissue. One's xylem, one's phloem. Okay, and with that, we associate that as a secondary type of tissue for support, and those are sclerenchyma cells. Okay, so stems of plants house sclerenchyma cells. I didn't do that right. Sclerenchyma cells. Okay, and it's the function of these cells, okay, to transport water. Okay, so this water is going to be moved through a specific type of tissue. So you'd have to be asking yourself, is that xylem or phloem? And in this case, we're talking about xylem tissue. Through xylem tissue. Okay, from the roots to the leaves. Okay, we're just going with the presumption that would make sense. It's not going straight from the roots to the leaves. It would have to go through the stems then first, of course. So once that water is there and the process of photosynthesis has taken place, well then stems, excuse me, I did not get that correct. That's not how we want to word that, okay? We should say, and then nutrients are sent back to the roots by phloem tissue. So there, once the photosynthesis has taken place, the nutrients have been made in the form of sugars or polysaccharides, and in that form, those sugars are then sent through the stems back down to the roots by phloem tissue. Okay, so xylem is moving water from the roots to the leaves, and then the phloem is taking the nutrients from the leaves through the stems back down to the roots so they can be stored. Okay, so that is two of the three main structures, and then finally we could move on to that of the leaves. Okay. So then finally, it is the function of the leaves to make sugars. We'll just say making sugars rather than using the long drug out process of what photosynthesis is, because we're just looking at the end result. Okay, so the leaves make sugars with the use of again, I did that wrong again. For some reason, I think there's a Y in there. Not till later. Parenchyma cells. Okay, so the function of leaves then to make sugars with the use of parenchyma cells, and then that again would be sent down through the stems to the roots, and that's with phloem tissue, but we already addressed that with that of the stems. So again, in closing, you want to know your roots, your stems, and your leaves, and then what type of supportive cells we're referring to. That would be sclerenchyma in the stems, parenchyma in that of the roots and leaves, and we're not too concerned about the collenchyma cells. We just want to limit it to these two. Remember, keep your P's together. If we're talking about photosynthesis, that would be referring to the water absorption in the roots, and then the making of sugars up in the leaves. Since both of them deal with photosynthesis, associate that with parenchyma cells. So that is the one essay we want you to be ready for on Friday. That's when the exam is. The review will be on your own time today and tomorrow, and then we will move forward to, or I should say with the mammals next week. We are winding down fairly quickly, so we will catch up to you next time.